I have Jim Gregory from Solium Fatalis on the phone right now. How you doing, man?
Good. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. With your new album, Genetically Engineered To Enslave, like, what's the story behind it? Like, what inspired you guys to make it?
Well, I think after 3 records, we were looking to push what was going to be different. And, of course, I was always interested in doing some kind of concept record or loose concept record, seeing what we could do with that, and not make anything similar to the last 3. And so we were able to succeed with that. And, you know, the album's loosely based around genetic engineering and things like that, but we've got a few reviews that I've read that said it was about the robot apocalypse, and I thought that was a little bit of a gross oversimplification. So, yeah, but, you know, some people are maybe not that smart. So, but it's tough reading lyrics. So, yeah, that's pretty much what happened, is we wanted to do something a little different. I think it worked.
It's awesome, man. So, you guys touched on the subject of genetic engineering and artificial intelligence and how that will lead to the end of humanity. What about those topics made you guys want to write about it in the way that you did?
I think it's not a terribly original subject, and I think the inspiration primarily came from films like Blade Runner and, you know, that kind of thing. And,
yeah.
I've always been a huge fan of that medium of science fiction and things like that, and I had already written about the realities of the world. I'd already written about war and famine and disease and these sort of things on the other 3 records. And I wanted to do something that was a little bit more just alternate to that, you know, as opposed to making things so goddamn serious all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it was, and then of course I didn't realize, you know, because I started writing the record with the guys a few years ago, and I didn't realize they were making a sequel to Blade Runner, so whoops. But the movie was amazing, so it all kind of worked out.
Oh, that's awesome. It's really cool that you've been inspired by Blade Runner. It's one of my favorite films.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the new one yet.
You got to see it. It's awesome.
Who did the kick-ass art for your new album cover, and like how does that imagery connect to your album?
So the artwork actually got started about 2 years ago, and it's by a friend of mine named Pierre-Alain Durand, or Pierre-Alain D. He has a company called Free MMI, and he had done Undying Season, Neuronic Saw, and the new one. So he's done our last 3 records because I always wanted to keep some consistency within that. I'm a huge Cannibal Corpse fan, so I always liked that Vincent Locke always did the artwork. I always thought that was so cool that they just kept. And so I always wanted to keep in tone with that. The process is pretty simple, actually. I would send him the demos and tell him what roughly the albums are about, including the new one, and say, hey, this is Genetically Engineered To Enslave. It's going to be about some genetic engineering type stuff and some science fiction type stuff. And he would just take it and just create whatever image that presented to him. I wasn't particularly in any sort of oversight, or I never micromanaged that. I just let him do his thing.
Oh, that's cool. Out of all the songs on this new album, which one is your favorite?
Jeez. Well, my personal favorite's A Gathering of Storms, for a variety of different reasons. But mainly it was just one of those songs that I had in my head. I knew I could do something that wasn't just typical death metal and would challenge the listeners. It's gotten a very almost visceral reaction from fans and reviewers alike. It's pretty much a love-hate song at this point, where people either really are into it and they get it, they know what I was going for, they know what we were trying to achieve, you know, with the female vocals, with multiple, you know, clean tone parts and things like that.
Yeah.
And other fans are like, it doesn't work, it's a huge misstep and things like that, and that's cool too. You know, I'm more than happy and receptive of that opinion too. It tells me more about the listener to hear their opinion on a song than it does for me to hear it, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. I actually, before the show started, that was one of the last songs I played. That's one of my favorites off the album. It's a really good track.
Thanks, man. That means a lot. I love the whole album. I mean, it's as far as all four of our records go, it's easily my favorite. It's the most complete album we've ever done. It's had the most participation by all members. Whereas the first two records are essentially solo albums. I pretty much wrote those on my own. Which sucks, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it fucking blows. You never want to write an album yourself because it's just void. But when we got to the third record, Ryan and Jeff and I started penning them together. And by this album, all four of us had started writing them all together, which is a way cooler process and very much risky. I mean, you know, not that we compare to this band, but Metallica used to just be James and Lars, and they were really great.
Oh, yeah.
The other members write the songs, it started to really suck. So take that chance, but we weren't going to get any more, less popular, I should say. We weren't going to get any less famous. So I said, fuck it. We all need to take part in this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
On your first album, like, I wasn't able to listen to the whole thing, but I was really impressed with how good the production quality sounded for your first album. And then I saw that you had Frederick Nordstorm.
Yeah.
Like, what chain of events happened to get you guys to work with somebody who, I mean, like, he fucking produced Dimmu Borgir records.
Right. Dude, it was like the most random thing. So I really didn't know anything about the music industry in 2012. And I remember my dad was saying, you know, I wish you'd just make a record. And I said, all right. And a lot of friends of mine had said, you should just make a record, just figure out how to do it. And so I didn't have a band is what had happened. And I just going up to a stranger and saying, hey, you should play guitar or drums or do vocals for me is about the most awkward shit you can do. And they don't know what you're capable of or anything like that. So pretty much what I did was I got the skills, just enough skills to write demos on my own in my house, and I wrote some songs and just emailed Dirk Verburen and Frederick North. I just emailed. I emailed a bunch of people that were well known in the business, like Andy Sneap, and you know all these people that like had worked with bands that were way more famous than us, and I didn't expect any of them to write me back. It'd be the equivalent of like an actor writing to Arnold Schwarzenegger and saying, "Hey, I want to be in action movies," and then the dude writes you back, and you're like, "Oh, what the fuck? What?" So that's pretty much what happened.
Oh, that's cool.
Dude, I had like 2 songs written, and I emailed Frederick Gross. I said, "Yeah, I'll mix your album."
That's
this dude did Slaughter the Soul. And he's going to work with me, and I have nothing. I had 2 songs written. So I wrote all 9 of those songs in about 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, and Dirk Verburen, the drummer, who now plays for Megadeth, but at the time was Soilwork and stuff, was like, yeah, I'll play drums for you. And so it all happened very quick. And when Jeff did the vocals for that album, he had actually been awake for about 36 hours straight, bouncing down his vocals to send them over to mix. If you're familiar with that process at all, it was quite a disaster, but it turned out okay.
That's really cool. Like, I mean, there's not very many underground bands that get to do shit like that.
No, and I think a lot of bands just don't ask.
Yeah.
I think that's what it, you know, how are you going to know if they're going to say no to you if you don't ask? And I think that's what happens is I'm not scared. I'm not afraid if somebody's telling me no. I'm not afraid of them telling me I suck. I don't care. Because I'll just ask somebody else. There's plenty of people.
Oh, yeah. Like, yeah. You seem to be pretty good at getting connections, because I was looking through, like, people that were doing your production on the other albums and, like, the bands that they'd worked with, and I was just thinking, wow, like, for a small band, you're getting some connections with people who have worked with really big bands, and that's really fucking cool.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, like, Chris Donaldson has done our mix and masters on our, and all our production work on the last 3 records, including the new one. And that whole relationship started as a professional relationship with the Undying Season, with our second record.
Mm-hmm.
And just developed into a friendship. And I had a lot of chemistry with the guys in Cryptopsy, who incidentally played on that record. And they're just good friends. And it was just something that kind of came about naturally. It wasn't me being a sycophant and kissing somebody's ass like, straight on my elbow. I didn't really care. You know, because I had done nothing but fail in my musical career up until that point, so I really give a fuck if I failed some more.
Oh, yeah.
Just getting that O word, the opportunity, was a big deal. Because that's what, I mean, if you're in the music industry in any capacity, you're just looking for an opportunity to prove yourself.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And you probably know that just as well as I do, that you just want that opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Let's... Fuck it. I lost my track here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have that effect on a lot of people.
It's fine. Oh, yeah, here we go. The track Contagion, which was the first track I played when I started my show, I noticed that you got a very heavy theme around The Thing with that song.
Yes.
Did that movie have any influence on the overall theme of your band?
Dude, 110% it did. It was one of these things that when I was a kid, I saw the movie The Thing, and my dad walked up to me, and I was probably 8 or 9 years old, and I'm watching John Carpenter's The Thing on TV. And my dad worked in the medical profession, and of course, you always believe what your dad tells you.
Yeah.
And before the movie starts, he says to me, "This could actually happen." And when you're 9 or 10 years old, you just, okay. And I don't know what I'm watching. And all of a sudden, the dog scene happens with these horrible transformations, and it scared the fucking shit out of me. And I was just like, oh my god, this could be real? This alien virus thing, mutation deal?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, and you're a kid, you don't know. You're just like, oh god, what the fuck? And so, of course, later he explained to me, no, what I meant was like an unknown virus. I didn't mean, he said, the rest of that stuff's bullshit with the virus. But yeah, it had a huge influence on not only me in terms of writing, but the song Contagion is absolutely based on The Thing, and Ryan, the other guitar player, and I, it's one of our favorite films. And we love the aspect of the unknown. We love science fiction. We love to write things on a more creative scale, if that makes sense. It's just a fucking cool movie too, man.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I hate to admit this, but I still haven't seen it. I've heard it's really fucking good, and I've been meaning to watch it, but I haven't yet.
Right. Well, and then I suppose the main motivator for people that haven't seen the film is that there's a mystery to the film that because of the blood and guts and gore that gets lost on people. And the mystery is not only, but besides that it has a nihilistic finish, spoiler alert, that the end of the film is a little bit nihilist, but there's a huge mystery, and it's who is the thing? Who is this creature? And then the real horror of this horror film is not really the monster, it's what humanity does to itself when put into a situation. So it's less about the creature and more about what people do to one another when their life is on the line and they're put in a precarious position. So that's the real fascinating aspect of the thing.
Oh yeah, that's really cool. It's a very clever way to do it.
Definitely, dude.
Are there any other films that had any inspiration on you at all?
Oh, yes. Besides Blade Runner, I'm a huge Kurosawa fan. I don't know if you're familiar with Japanese film.
Somewhat.
What's that?
I'm somewhat familiar with it. It depends on what it is.
Yeah. There's the Japanese samurai films that happened in the 50s and 60s are quite compelling. Like if you see one film is called Sword of Doom, and it's about the deeds of the samurai, the ghosts of his deeds haunting him and his demons, so to speak. And The way that films are shot outside of Hollywood, outside of the United States, are quite a bit different than what you'd be used to. They don't even use linear storyline. They use, visual motive, and they do things that are predicated on a singular look on an actor or a singular action, and you really have to be paying attention to these films. And then on top of it, they're going to be subtitled. So a lot of people just don't have the attention span for that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're the kind of person that really is just really tired of the schlock, and you're really tired of the build up and climax and denouement, like the whole typical Hollywood film, then I would highly recommend, Japanese, like, sort of samurai films, like Sword of Doom, or Kurosawa films, like Ran or Rashomon. The Zatoichi Blind Swordsman films are really great. I also enjoy French films. Brotherhood of the Wolf is a great one. The Samurai is a fantastic French film about a hitman. So they definitely play a part in my life and play a role in my understanding of the human condition. And it's probably pretty boring, but and then of course, if I'm not watching really fancy movies like that, I like really shitty ones. So
there's nothing wrong with watching shitty movies.
Yeah, dude. Like, for every really amazing film, I probably watch 5 or 6 incredibly shitty movies. So, for all the Japanese samurai films and that type of thing, I'm probably watching Samurai Cop and Maniac Cop and Maniac Cop 2 and Maniac Cop 3. It was so amazing they made 3 of them. They're just little pieces of shit. And you can't not watch Chud. You have to watch Chud. So...
Yeah.
Definitely a film buff, and it definitely has an impact on the band. So.
Oh, yeah. It's really cool. Different bands have different mediums that really influence their work. Like, I've interviewed bands that are heavily influenced by literature, heavily influenced by video games. So it's cool to, kind of see what mediums of entertainment have an impact on the band.
Yeah, certainly. And literature is a huge influence in my life. I'm, not only a fan of films, but I'm a fan of novels. And, I'm a big fan of Frederick Forsyth's series. I love Day of the Jackal and The Dogs of War. I enjoy Frank Herbert's Dune. There's so many creative pieces. There's so many pieces of art out there for people to get a hold of that, when you really delve into that stuff and you get involved into whatever your favorite thing is. I love the Far Side comics. I love graphic novels. I'm a huge fan of Daredevil and Conan the Barbarian. Like, I have so many things that I can draw from. That when you go and talk to somebody who says they like the new Transformers movie, you just kind of stare at them.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, good. I'm glad. I'm sure you like to smell your own farts, Bill.
Yeah, Michael Bay's done a good job at shitting on everything good about my childhood.
Exactly, same here. It's like, it's not like it was some compelling piece anyway. It was a bunch of fucking robots that changed into machines, but somehow he made it worse, which, it takes a real talent. It takes a talent to fuck that up. Yeah. Yeah. It takes a talent to fuck something stupid up to make it more dumb.
Yeah. Transformers, it had a very compelling side to it, even though it was pretty simple, though. It was very artistic and unique in the sense that they all just transformed into different shit. And
yeah, it was a way to sell you toys, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely, but... God, the fucking 80s toys are way more appealing than the new ones. I used to have some of them as kids. They were, when I was a kid, the new ones were fucking horrendous to try to put together and take apart.
Right, I'm sure. You had to kind of figure it out. Like, when you got your first Transformers in 1988, you had to sort of figure out how this thing worked. And I think that was the fun, was the challenge. And, how do I work this, how do I turn Starscream into a jet without breaking him in half? That's the fun. And now they're, so concerned that some kid's going to swallow this shit. Which to me falls in line with the Tide Pod thing, where I'm just like, go and eat it. Yeah, please do. Fix it.
Yeah, the way they make things now is fucking terrible.
Oh, all done for safety.
They're all concerned about pieces being swallowed, but like if you look at, like, for example, new Star Wars figures versus old ones, they all got joints and you can easily pop their fucking heads off and shit. Versus having this jointless block of a figure that you will never be able to fuck up unless you really try.
It's kind of a bummer because, I mean, I guess we're lucky that Legos haven't been banned yet. They still make Legos, and you can swallow a Lego piece and choke yourself to death, but they haven't banned it yet. So.
Yeah. I think I saw recently that they finally released the ban on those fucking Kinder eggs, too.
So I was actually coming back from overseas, and one of my buddies had a bunch of Kinder eggs on him.
Oh.
Before the released ban on the Kinder eggs, and the customs agent smashed all of his Kinder eggs.
Oh my god.
Right in front of him.
That's some fucking bullshit, like...
Right, it's like, listen, dude, when I was a kid, we were shooting at each other with BB guns and fireworks. I think you're fine with your fake fucking Kinder egg.
Like, at least if it's a fucking adult, you know, the adult's not gonna eat the fucking plastic shit inside.
I mean, if you think about the Kinder egg as a whole concept, it's a little bizarre anyway.
Yeah.
You're gonna try and stuff a Kinder egg in your kid's fucking mouth, and I guess they deserve a joke. Fuck. It's like, come on, dude.
Oh, shit.
It's fucking stupid.
Oh my god. Sorry. I have to get my composure together.
About these fucking cases all the time. Like, you can go on the news and read about, like, somebody dying from inserting some foreign object into their asshole. And it's like, well, I guess they kind of asked for it. You know?
Yeah.
Besides the part where it's bizarre and goofy.
I know. It definitely worth reading every bit of that shit, though. It's like, how fucking stupid do you have to be to shove a fucking whatever it may be all the way up your ass?
It's really not meant to be an insertion point, specifically just physiologically speaking, so you're taking your life in your own hands.
Yeah. I'm kind of getting a sense that the stupidity of humanity has a big influence on what you do musically.
I think it's not lost on any of the members, the irony of it. We're, all four of us are quite different. Our drummer's probably the most woke person I've ever met in my life. He's quite socially conscious. He's educated and he's just a pretty sharp dude. And I usually have to. He's my sort of go-to for what's going on socially. If I don't understand something, I very often will call Saltzman up and say, "Hey, dude, what is this? If it's a topic politically, neopolitically, anything geopolitically, whatever." He's quite a good person to go to. When it comes to the music scene, I actually have to, as far as the New England music scene goes, I have to very much often ask DeMarco and Ryan Beavers, who's this band? Are they good? Because I just don't have my fingers on the pulse.
Oh, yeah.
And I definitely will defer to my betters when it comes to things like that and find out information, because I'm a whore for information anyway. And we definitely are cognizant of what's going on around us in terms of the world, including the music industry and that type of thing. So if that makes any sense to you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, let's see here. I noticed that when you guys were releasing your first couple albums, you started out independent. Now you're part of Disfigured Records. How has that helped your band out?
Well, essentially, Disfigured Records is my record label.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude. So what had happened was I had solicited to record labels for our first two records, and then before Neurotic Saw, our third album, came out, I had solicited to, like, Metal Blade and shit, man, you name the label. Cunt Records. I don't know. You fucking name the label. I probably asked them, and if they didn't ignore me, they told me no. And I finally just was like, fuck it. I'm going to just make my own label. It's going to be this Disfigured Records. Sure. Who cares? And I had found out how to distribute records on our own without any help at all.
That's really cool.
Dude, it's sweet, man, because, like, we can ship albums. I just shipped albums. I mean, this record, Genetically Engineered to Enslave, like, this album, I've shipped records to just about any country you could name. South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Portugal, within the United States, obviously, Canada, Mexico, you know, and it's been really shocking because I'll open up our sales things where I have to, like, ship an album off to, and you have to distribute albums to. And it's like, oh, we have 6 albums going to Italy. I didn't know we had fans there. You know?
That's cool.
And dude, you get pretty. It's humbling, to be honest with you. You know, I was telling a friend of mine today, actually, that it's humbling. I was actually in California, and a fan recognized me, and I didn't know what to do. I've never been recognized before.
That's awesome.
It's wild, and obviously a band like Nile or Morbid Angel, like, they're going to get recognized everywhere. Everybody knows who those guys are.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, if you and I saw Obituary walking down the street, I'd be like, dude, that's Obituary. What do we do? You know, nothing. Let's do nothing. I don't want to be an idiot. You know? And so for me to get recognized where we're at in our career was a big deal. And I just couldn't get record labels to really even tell me anything. It was so I said, well, I'm not waiting for them. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Is we got to our 3rd album, and I said, well, I'm not going to fucking wait for these guys. I'm not going to wait for them to tell me no. I'm not on your timetable. I do what I want. And I make albums as fast as I want to. And just because your favorite band takes 8 years to make a fucking album, they're just lazy. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know, they're lazy or they're a clusterfuck, and I don't care what they do. I'm going to make an album every year. And so we did that.
Oh, yeah.
And the big thing is not only am I going to make an album every year, but I'm making an album that doesn't suck. Let's see your fucking band do that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, if you've been around enough bands, and I'm sure you have, most of them are a drama shit show, and you don't want to, they'll tell you, oh, Billy didn't want to make the solo here. I had to argue about it for a month. You're like, who cares? Shit or get off the pot, dude. Like, either you want to do this shit or you don't want to do this shit. And so I never understood. And if a band like Cannibal Corpse or Aborted, those are 2 of the most prolific bands out there.
Oh, yeah.
Right, like Aborted just keeps making albums and they're fucking good.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
They're really fucking good. And if those guys, with their touring schedule and all the work that they have to do, and all the member changes and all the bullshit they deal with, can keep making albums the way they do, then certainly my band can do it when we don't have half the responsibilities they do.
Oh, yeah.
So that's when I was like, well, let's just do Disfigured Records. We're going to fucking do this our way, and I don't really care if anybody's ready for it. So, like, I'm glad to announce on your show that next year we're going to put out our first live album.
Oh, shit. That's awesome.
Yeah, dude. I always wanted to do a live album because I'm an egomaniac. And I was like, well, we need to do a fucking live album because DSI did a live album and all my favorite bands do a live album. So we're going to do a fucking live album.
Oh, that's kick-ass.
Dude, when we did our CD release show, I was like telling the guys, we're recording this. So we actually set up all the pro audio and we recorded. And it's over an hour of music and we're going to do this live album. It's going to be fucking sick as shit, dude.
That's kick-ass.
And on our timetable, man. I'm not waiting for labels and other people to give me approval. Fuck them.
Oh, yeah, it's a really good way to do it, honestly. I've came across bands I really liked before where, like, they had so much bullshit with different record labels that they said, fuck this shit, I'm going to make my own.
It's brutal we have plenty of friends that are on labels, and it's tough for them, man. You know, and I don't want to name names because I'm not trying to call anybody out or anything like that, but
yeah,
like, we have friends that are on some big labels like Metal Blade, Nuclear Blast, and they don't treat them well.
Damn.
You know, they treat them like a piece of fucking meat. And I just remember telling the band, I said, well, I don't need to be treated like that. You know, we don't need that. We don't need them to make a record, and I don't need their approval. And, obviously, like, when you're in a bigger band in some of those scenarios, you obviously have a business and you have an audience and things like that, but why be an indentured servant?
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things that, like, some of them have to do it because the finances and all this other stuff, and there's 100 reasons, but, labels don't rule the business anymore. They fucked that up with Napster.
Yeah. Do you think being on a label at all helps with bands?
It certainly does. It does in a lot of ways. It'll help you with your distribution, for one. It'll help you with your costs if they're a decent label. In terms of producing CDs and getting your stuff out there. There is a bit of prestige to it. Like, if you knew a band was a Nuclear Blast band or a Season of Mist band, you might check them out just because those are reputable labels.
Oh, yeah.
And the other part of that is that they kind of go hand in hand with media. And a lot of the big media companies work with them in promoting the same shit over and over and over and over. But the way I see it is that, like, if you were to go and open a Blabbermouth or Metal Sucks or whatever website people read, they're just talking about the same 10 to 12 fucking bands all the time. They're not talking about Lago. They're not talking about Whore of Bethlehem.
Yeah.
They're not talking about bands that you and I both know are really fucking good.
Oh, yeah.
Like, wow, this band's really good. Why don't they get any press? Well, it's because they're not a part of this big system. And that's why. They don't get a tour with every big band you've ever heard of. And if you live in a major touring area, I mean, how many fucking times, and this is no disrespect to these bands, but how many times do you want to see, I don't know, name a band, dude. How many times do you want to see the same band every year? Over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
In concert. I mean, do you really want to see Winter Sun play 9 times a year? Or are you going to give a fuck?
Yeah.
And I remember one year, I think it was like 3 years in a row, it was like 3 times in 1 year Flesh God Apocalypse showed up here.
Wow.
And they're a cool band, no problem, whatever. But I don't need to see them 3 fucking times, man. And again, we're going with the Coca-Cola thing where they're just over and over and over and over and over and over and over. It's like the minute they found out that comic books were a cool movie to make, all of a sudden comic book movie, comic book movie, comic book movie, comic book movie.
Yeah.
And you need nothing but comic book movies. And for people that like to fucking think for themselves, eventually you're going to get sick of that shit, dude.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, well, I don't really want to see a fucking comic book movie. I think I'm going to go watch Hereditary. And people are like, what's Hereditary? And you're like, well, that's the kind of movie you go see when you think for your fucking self.
Yeah, Hereditary was a good fucking movie.
Right? Phenomenal movie. Scary as fuck. And people would, I don't know, it's not really, I'm sure it's a pretty big movie, but like, in the pantheon of huge movies, it doesn't compare to an Avengers.
Yeah.
And what happens is it's like the restaurant thing. Like, your favorite restaurant went to shit. How many times have you been to a place that you like to eat at? Years later, it just turned to shit. How many times does that happen?
It happens, like, all the fucking time.
Right? Like, you love this Mexican joint, and you eat there all the time, and 3 years later, it's shit. It's not good. And what happens is, what my buddy Charles says, my buddy Charles was a restaurateur. He was a pizza guy, and he owned a pizza restaurant and ran it and things like that.
Yeah.
And what happened is he kind of opened my eyes to this. He said, Jim, they're more interested in pushing product.
Yeah.
And that's when you have to become concerned. That's when you, as a consumer, need to be like, all right, well, Solium Fatalis is pushing product, so the album isn't good. Where you're making the same thing over and over and over, and it's just boring. Eventually, you just grow out of it.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I'm not going to go to this restaurant, I'm not going to watch this movie, I'm not going to listen to this music because it becomes the same bullshit. And that's what happens with genres within music, is the same parallel rather. the same parallel happens in music. Is that like there might be one or two really awesome metalcore bands, but unfortunately the record labels perpetuated 92 shitty ones.
Yeah.
And now you have to like fight through that bullshit to get to the good ones. And as a fan, for you and me, because I'm a fan,
yeah,
like as a fan of this stuff, you don't want to fight through it. You're just going to keep listening to the stuff from 2002 that you knew was good.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part as a new musician, or a newer band, really, to get people to just hit the play button, because they are cynical. They are burned out. What's going to make Solium Fatalis relevant to them? You know, I already, was burned out in 2005. I'm not going to listen to new music, and I have plenty of friends that do that. They do not listen to new music.
Yeah.
And they watch new movies. They don't try new restaurants. They keep going back to McDonald's. They keep doing the same shit over and over, and that's the real challenge in art. The real challenge is to get people to try your shit and convince them that you don't fucking suck and you care about what you do.
Yeah.
And that's the big speech.
Yeah, there's definitely, like, a lot of shit to sift through. Like, I mean, with my position, I'm trying to play new music and old music, and I have to sift through so many bands. And, like, for example, I recently discovered Horrendous.
Oh, they're great.
And their new album kicks fucking ass.
So agreed, man. So good.
And then I found out they were on Season of Mist, and I follow Season of Mist on social media, and I'm like, why the fuck didn't I see about this? I keep seeing about, what was it, Abath or Immortal released an album.
Sure.
And, like, that kept coming up a lot, but I'm like, this small band has released, like, probably one of the biggest killer fucking albums of the year.
Totally, and I agree with you, man. Horrendous smokes, and their new one is one of the best of the year.
But like, you don't, like, stuff like that, like, even though they're part of a record label, that stuff still didn't end up on my radar until, like, I was digging for it.
Well, and I think, like, a big thing, and there's an interesting, everything's a gray area, not everything's black and white.
Yeah.
I think the gray area of life is the part where fans like you and me and our friends and things like that will keep listening to Horrendous. And you're going to stick with that band as long as they're going to be around.
Yeah.
And you always want the next opportunity for that band to come up. And they actually just played here up in New England pretty recently at my buddy Joint Ralph's in Worcester. Horrendous did.
Oh, really?
And, fucking sick band. Everybody loves them. And I think what it is you're just hoping they get that big opportunity on that big tour.
Oh, yeah.
And that somebody notices them, and you're like, hey, this band's actually good. And, dude, not to make it about us or anything like that, but, like, I've had fans walk up to me after we've played live and say, dude, you're actually good. And I always was taken aback by that comment. Like, Horrendous probably gets that more than we do. Like, wow, you're actually good.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, well, what'd you expect? You expect this to be a fucking two dogs on the side of the road fucking shit show? And the answer is yes. They've seen fans have been so oversaturated with crappy music that when you do get to see a Horrendous, when you do get to see a band like that that's relatively new, so to speak,
yeah,
you're like, fuck, this is so good, and you're excited. And I think that's where I relate to that quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. It almost seems like now there's also an appeal of staying, like, between underground and being huge.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, with Metal Sucks and stuff, they've been talking about bands like Gate Creeper and Power Trip, where they're kind of somewhat big that they end up being opening acts, but it almost seems like they want to stay in that region a little bit because of the culture around that.
I don't think any band wants to be small.
Yeah.
If they do, I don't know what's wrong with them. I think we all want to be as big as possible. We all want to be Cannibal Corpse. We all want to be Kiss. We all want to be Motley Crue. Hey, dude, you can't tell me that no band wants to know what it's like to play in front of 70,000 people.
Yeah, I get that.
You're in a band and you don't want that. There's something fucking wrong with you. There's really something wrong with you if you don't want to do that.
it almost seems like, you know, the whole stigmata of the stigma with sellout bands. I think nobody really wants to be like that either.
Interesting. There's it's funny because when I was I want to date myself, dude. When I was a kid, death metal was relatively big. It was the Death, Morbid Angel, Napalm Death, Obituary, Deicide, Cannibal Corpse, like early to mid 90s era when those bands were actually getting notoriety and press, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think the bands themselves had one problem with that whatsoever. I don't think they had a problem with fame. I don't think they had a problem with notoriety.
Yeah.
And I think, like, every band wants to be as big as they possibly can be, but I think what they want, in regards to what you're saying, is I think they want legitimacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, I'll admit it, dude, I was a huge Fear Factory fan. When Soul of the New Machine came out, that was a phenomenal industrial death metal album.
Yeah.
And when they did Demanufacture, I was still a fan. When they did Obsolete, I was still a fan. When they did Digimortal, I was still a fan. I'm still a fan of that band, even though they got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And what happened was, like, some of the real diehard fans turned on them because they got big, and they started saying, well, you're a sellout because you're famous.
Yeah.
I think that's so fucking ignorant. You know,
yeah, I'm for one not one of those people. I think people like that are fucking stupid.
Well, dude, you like what you like.
Yeah.
You know, and ultimately, like, I think with a band like Power Trip, you mentioned Power Trip, so I remember thinking, like, I've never heard of this band, but they got on that Cannibal Corpse tour, and they were, like, big overnight. It seemed to me that way.
Yeah.
And I was happy for them, man. I'm like, good for them, dude. You know, if they can get the rub from playing shows with Cannibal, good. You know, and it also speaks to Cannibal Corpse, who's taking bands out like Harm's Way and Aeon, like, or Eon, or how do you say it? Like, they really, I think it's cool that they help one another.
Yeah.
And that's something, I was actually in Tampa for 12 years, and the Tampa death metal scene was pretty much dead, sadly. And I got there in 1999, and the only real band that really existed down there was the Absinthe.
Mm-hmm.
And they would help out any band if they could, but there just weren't any.
Yeah.
You know, so like, if somebody said, hey, Jim, we got this band, and we want to play with Solium Fatalis, and I thought they were good, of course, yes. You know? But if they suck, I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
You know, and that's another interesting debate, if you wanted to talk about it, was there are trophy generation bands that I'm just like, okay, you suck.
Yeah.
But yeah, so did I answer your question?
Yeah, that pretty much did it. I mean, like, with my statement, like, about, you know, people that get pissed off when their band is a quote-unquote sellout being fucking stupid, I do feel like with certain bands, it might apply. Like, if you get to the point where you feel like they're making music specifically for a mainstream audience and their music just doesn't feel like what it was before. Like, it's just manufactured company bullshit that's spit out.
Yeah. And there's definitely bands that you and I are probably fans of, or were fans of, that became cookie cutter bands, as you're describing, where it's, you know, you've become Pizza Hut and you're just making shit to make it. But I think as a fan, like, you yourself as a fan could readily identify that.
Yeah.
Like, you would not have any issues listening to an album and telling there was no genuine, like, passion to it, and there was no reality to it. There was, you know,
yeah.
And you can watch anything, read any book, listen to any band, and tell when they care about what the fuck they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And, dude, like, there are bands that have been around. Does anybody think that Iron Maiden isn't sincere? At this point, 30-some years, how many years they've been going at it?
Yeah, I mean...
They don't love what they do? Does Iron Maiden need the money?
No, not really.
No, they don't. They do this because they love it.
Yeah.
And that's why Book of Souls was good. That's why The Final Frontier is good. That's why they keep making good music, because they care about what they do. And that sincerity is read by fans. It's interpreted by fans. It's understood by fans. And that's what separates good bands and great bands from bands that are just timely and they're in it for the money or they're in it for the fame. All the wrong reasons.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
You mentioned Iron Maiden, though. That was kind of a band that I wanted to bring up, because I think, in all honesty, Iron Maiden is like a good example of how, you should do things. Like, you don't have to, like, go as extravagant in the fucking stage performances and the iconicness of them, but, like, they set good examples in, like, the energy that they put in their music, Each album feels different, and even though, like, there's some albums that I personally don't see as great Maiden albums, like, what's the name of it? The one that came out right after Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. It wasn't a horrible album.
I have to think about it. I know it out.
No Prayer for the Dying or Living, or fuck.
Yeah, it's No Prayer for the Dying.
That one and Fear the Dark. Oof. They felt like mediocre albums, but it.
Now see, I hate No Prayer for the Dying, but I love Fear of the Dark.
I love the song Fear the Dark, but I didn't really get as much of an interest level from the rest of the album.
Here to Eternity, dude? What the fuck?
Maybe I just need to listen to it again.
It's okay. I told people I don't like Piece of Time. I told people I don't like that album, but they get mad at me.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorites, but I understand.
It's opinions are opinions.
Yeah, it's all subjective, and that's one thing that people need to understand too.
If you fucking Killers and we were at a party, I wouldn't argue with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like in situations like that where you end up making something that people relatively don't like and don't feel is as good, in that situation they made 7 fucking phenomenal albums, and then there's just like. And they were almost like back to back on years.
And that's that high level, high touring, high production, high work ethic. Man, how can you beat that?
You can't.
No, you just try to emulate it. You just try to. And I think that's where I got. And I don't know if this is where you're going with your question, but I think that's where I got with my own band, was this inspiration. I used to fucking dread waiting for a Metallica album, because I grew up as a Metallica fan.
Yeah.
And, dude, waiting between albums of Metallica, it was, fuck. It drive you insane. It took so goddamn long. And you're just like, what are they, knitting a sweater? And...
Yeah.
Here's Metallica touring for this album for 5 years. Okay. Oh, this guy's got mental illness. This guy's got drug issues. This guy's got... Like, okay. Meanwhile, some dude that's laying pavement for a living doesn't understand what the problem is.
Yeah.
And it's unrelatable. But then you have a band like Iron Maiden who, come on. Just keep going and going and going and going and going. And they keep producing. And they produce at a high quality level, like you said.
Yeah.
Like album that are good. And yes, it's possible. Yes, it's possible to keep making great records. And all I have to say is, if you're not sure, Opeth, just go ahead and listen to their first 5 albums. They're not 12 years apart. They're quite close, and they're really fucking good.
Yeah, Opeth is one of those bands that completely switched their style out of nowhere, too.
Yeah, and didn't apologize for it. I mean, you can't knock a band for doing that.
Yeah.
You know? And I remember the first time I heard Opeth, I was like, well, you really sound like Edge of Sanity. Everybody's like, who's Edge of Sanity? I'm like, never mind. But yeah, dude, like, I mean, you like what you like, and good is good. And you and I could probably universally agree on what is a good record and what is not.
Yeah. But, like, even if it's a good album or not, I always respect when a band goes out of their comfort zone. Like, if the band I love switched to sound and I didn't like the album, I'd always completely respect it if they were trying something completely different and I understood where they were going with it. Like,
absolutely.
And that's one cool thing about your band. Like, you know, with A Gathering of Storms, like you said, you had a completely different sound than what most fans would expect from you, and you got various results on that, and that is really cool.
You know what's funny is I actually had 2 more songs like that for the album, and they just didn't come to fruition. Like, they weren't really working for me. And Heidi Irizarry, who did the female vocals on that song, was so open, and the band was, you know, Jeff and Salzman and Brian, they were so open to my idea, which is, it's a cool thing about being in a band is that, like, you have no limits on other than what you put on yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I messaged Heidi, I sent her a text, I said, hey Heidi, I have this idea. I want you to do some vocals for us, and it's going to seem, you know, really stupid. And she goes, well, I'll do the vocals, but it's going to cost you $50. And I said, well, I'm not going to fucking pay you. I'm just teasing Heidi. I'm kidding. It's a joke. But when I came up with the song, there was some insecurity within the band. Not a lot of protest, just insecurity. Like, well, how's this going to work? And I said, guys, just trust me. It's going to work. I promise. And for a fan such as yourself or myself even, or, you know, anyone who loves heavy metal or extreme metal, there really aren't any limitations on it. Oh, you know, if you cranked up a Blind Guardian album and they played an acoustic song, or Enslaved, how about that? Blind Guardian and Enslaved, 2 completely different bands. If they fired up an acoustic song with clean vocals, would it shock you? You know,
yeah.
It wouldn't shock you at all. And Celtic Frost wouldn't shock you, and Triptychon wouldn't shock you. And so I never wanted to be a band that painted in black, so to speak, all the time. And I never wanted to be a band that just had one dimension. And I think everybody knew that when we did Storms. And of course now I wish I would have wrote like 6 more like it, but, you know.
Yeah. I like I said, I really like that track a lot, and I really like switching shit up like that. And that's one of the things that kind of drew me to Death, was like, you know, you'd be hearing like these really killer heavy riffs, and then boom, fucking acoustic guitar out of nowhere, and it gets all melodic and shit.
Definitely.
Let's see, what else I got here? I got a question in the chat room from
Finally, we have our 3 fans show up.
It's actually one of our regulars in the chat room.
Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry.
Go for it.
Megan wants to know what your favorite horror movies and monsters are.
My favorite horror movies and monsters. Well, thank you for your question, Megan. I appreciate it. For you 3 fans out there that give a fuck, my favorite horror movies are easily Halloween, the original. I do love the brand new one, though. It's great.
Oh, yeah.
Alien, although that might be sci-fi horror, but it's still horror, right?
Yeah, it's as long as it's horror, dude. Doesn't matter.
Hellraiser, that's up there. And I can think of 100 movies. Of course, I won't be able to remember them while I'm trying to answer the fucking question. Alien, did I say Alien?
Yeah.
Alien is way up there. God. Friday the 13th, Part 4, easily. Because you get to not only see Crispin Glover dance like a douchebag in it, but get killed. If you've never seen McFly get killed, it's worth it. Jeez, I can't see. And the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Oh boy, is that movie fucking badass as shit. And my favorite What She Asked Creatures.
Yeah, favorite monsters.
Oh, monsters, there's so many good ones. Monsters, easily The Thing. Obviously, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah. Predator.
And it's my favorite because, and people are going to laugh at this, but man is at a weak point. Like, in 1987, when the first Predator movie came out, Arnold Schwarzenegger was supposed to be this, like, bad motherfucker, and he's all juiced up on steroids, and he's huge, and he can kill everybody. And then here's this 7-foot thing that just beats the shit out of him, and only loses the fight, because he got too cocky. Right? So you gotta love a monster like that.
Yeah.
Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers easily, Leatherface easily. And I want to throw a stupid one on the end with the Chud, the cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers, as being an amazing movie monster that totally rules and everybody should check out.
I'll probably check that out pretty soon, since you mentioned that. Oh, man. See, do I have any?
Sean Goodman in it, so now you gotta watch it.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got here.
Antoine Chigurh in No Country for Old Men is probably the greatest movie monster of all time. That dude's scary.
I got a technical question for you. Since you're the guitarist for the band, what guitar gear do you use?
I prefer comparison guitars. I have two of them. I have a Brocken 7-string and a Dellinger 7-string. One has a fixed bridge, one has a Floyd Rose. My Dellinger 7-string has EMGs on it, EMG 81.7 for the bridge, and a 85.7 for the neck. And my Brocken 7-string has a 27-inch scale, and I use Lundgren pickups on that. All my volume knobs are swapped out for push-button kill switches because I kept ripping my volume knobs off live. I'm not like a really fancy technical player. For KSR amps, I play a KSR Orthos 2 head, and I use fader cabinets along with my guitar player Ryan. We use faders, which mine is loaded with Eminence Legend speakers, and Ryan's is loaded with Eminence Legend cross pattern to a shit and stuff. I can't remember my other guitar player's gear. And then I use a Protone overdrive. It's a Keith Merrow overdrive that my bass player singer gave me. Jeff DeMarco gave it to me, and it's awesome. And I use a cheap delay pedal that I can't remember the name of, a Jet Flanger, a Decimator on pedal board. That's about it. Not much. It's a pretty simple rig, actually. Yeah, comparison guitars, KSR amp, and Vader cabinets, and Mogami wire cables, because they rule.
That's awesome.
And in tune guitar, we also have, I use D'Addario New York XL strings, and I use in-tune guitar picks, custom picks, which I am a fucking ninja with live, and I've bounced off people's foreheads for many shows. My buddy Devin will tell you, I've hit him in the head at least 27 times in shows. He's probably sustained injuries, but it's not because I'm so devastated with it as much as that he is so fragile. I hope that answered the question.
Oh yeah, that definitely answered the question. What's the metal scene like in your area?
It's cool, man. It's really diverse. There's like a New Hampshire scene, which is a small group of bands where we live, and then there's the Massachusetts scene, which we're happily to be a part of, and there's some really big bands. I guess I could call them a part of the scene, although they're a bit national. But like there's Abnormality and Replicaire, who are some of the bigger bands. Revocation's probably the really big one at the moment. That when I first got to New Hampshire, moved here, Revocation was still playing small shows, and now they're quite big.
Oh yeah,
right? Like, and that dude Dave Davison played a monster on his guitar. And then there's a ton of really cool bands. Like, shit. Our guitar player, he's in another band called Unfleshed. They're phenomenal. Really fucking good band. It's a quite healthy scene. It's really diverse. A lot of prog bands like Protean Collective, and a lot of more technical bands like Pathogenic. We're getting ready to do a show with Angel Grinder, and they're more like us, more like pure death metal, you know. And Necronomichrist is up here with us, Desolate. It's just a ton of fucking cool bands, man.
It's awesome.
And it's so oversaturated, I don't know if the fans know how good the bands are here. Like, it's pretty cool, man. You know, because where I'm from, I'm originally from Iowa, and there was like no bands. So it's quite a difference.
Yeah. I think Slipknot is like some of the most popular people to come out of Iowa.
That's like the only people that come out of Iowa, and it's funny. Is that when I was growing up in Iowa, and they were Stone Sour, there was no Slipknot. Stone Sour sucked, and we thought they were funny. And I don't mean funny like peculiar. I mean funny as we were laughing at them funny. And corny and fucking cow shit funny. And and you know it's funny to me. It's funny, I keep saying it. But Roadrunner assembled that band, and their first tour was Ozfest. So I don't know how much more propped up you could be. Did they get your first tour? What was your first tour? Oh, it was Ozfest. You know, but to their credit, man, they're pretty unique, and they work pretty hard, and they got that Midwestern work ethic. So,
oh, yeah.
And I can't fault a band like that for getting... And like I said, man, people say sell out, but I think you should get as big as you can get.
Yeah. Like, that's exactly how I feel. I just know that there's a lot of people out there that feel differently. And Slipknot's one of those bands that, like, they try different shit on all their albums, and then whenever they're not making an album, they're touring like fucking crazy.
They do, man. And also, I want to give them credit. Give credit where credit is due. Slipknot is the only show I've ever been to where I thought I was going to die. I saw them in 2000 when they were on tour for their first album. They were opening up. You're going to laugh. They were opening up for Machine Head and fucking Cold Chamber. Yes. And I was at that show in Tampa at the Masquerade, also known as the Ritz, and that shit was scary. I thought they were going to kill us.
Oh, shit.
This band is intense, and I saw the band members on the streets, and they were 6'5", 6'8". They're all humongous. It's like so. For the people that want to talk shit about them, I'm like, you should say it to their face because they're scary.
the only one you could probably get away with, you know, getting face to face with is Corey. Corey's actually the same fucking height as me. He's 5'4".
I'm actually more scared of small people. It's that skinny 130-pound guy that's the angry one you gotta worry about.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they were cool, man. Like, they fucking... like I said, man, it's like when I saw Morbid Angel with Pantera back in 2001. Like, fucking... The intensity is unreplaceable. You just can't replicate that.
Yeah.
You know, and Slipknot, you know, dude, they were fucking insane. And then, you know, and people can say, well, they're on drugs, or they were doing this, or they were doing that. Dude, all I know is that show was one of the only shows I've been to without seeing a dinner.
Yeah, no, I was reading somewhere that, like, on their earlier shit, where they were still opening bands, there were times where bands, like, flat out refused to have them on their tours, mainly due to the fact that during a certain point around the Self-Titled and Iowa era, that they were going to these shows opening for people, and they were so energetic and just visceral that...
I'm telling you, dude, I bet you Cold Chamber didn't want them back.
Like, as soon as they were done, everybody was like, well, fuck this main event band, I'm fucking leaving.
I proved it to you. People didn't fail. And it's sad because at the time, it was coincidental, but Machine had just a supercharger, I think. And it was like one of the really shitty albums. On stage doing rap metal. They were on stage doing rap metal after Slipknot played, and they're like, yo, 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 Funky Fresh. And everybody's what? It's like... So it was a pretty wild time. And also, I just want to point out that the opening band, I can't remember who it is, because fuck it. It was probably my band, who knows?
Yeah, it does sound like the areas you lived in have a way better metal scene than I do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how... You're in Indiana? I don't know.
I'm in Tennessee.
Tennessee? Oh, God. Well, I mean... I actually don't know what Tennessee seems like, dude. But I can tell you there's some good-ass fucking barbecue down there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, the scene is really good for other genres, if that's your thing. Like rockabilly and blues, they got some really good shit down here.
Yeah. If I was into fucking my sister, I'd love listening to that music.
I mean, on the metal aspect of things, though, the current drummer of Slipknot does live down here.
Yeah.
I think I know Hailstorm does a lot of tours here. I think members of Hailstorm live here.
Is that the girl that fucking is like... Lizzie Hale? Yeah, that's her real name. I know.
And Ghost recorded their second album down here.
Yeah, is it a good one? I don't know. I don't listen to Ghost.
The album they recorded down here is my favorite by them.
Yeah. You know what's funny is that band, the only song of theirs that it really sticks in my head is the ABBA cover. And I don't listen to ABBA. But they did I'm a Marionette or whatever, and I always thought that song was kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole reason why they had to come to Tennessee, like, they lived in Sweden, you know, I figured they'd be able to, they wanted to do a more orchestral kind of thing, like they wanted a choir on their album. And I think the thing was they couldn't find a choir to participate in their quote-unquote satanic music, so they came to fucking the Bible Belt and found a choir in Nashville.
Well, money's money, right?
Yeah, I mean...
I got asked one time in an interview if we were satanic, and I laughed, and I said, well, to acknowledge Satan is to acknowledge there's a God, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly.
And the guy was like, what? And I said, well, I don't believe in God. So why would there's a Satan? Because you're telling me that the Holy Trinity's real?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Ghost, good. Satanism.
Yeah, recently they were about to perform a show in Texas, and a fucking Texas prayer circle came to the venue they were going to perform at and, like, prayed at it to try to protect it from any satanic elements that the band would bring.
The most effective way to get rid of a satanic band is to pray it away. So I think it's important that the Westboro Baptist Church shows up and tells everybody all their shit, and to pray away the evil and demons. And good, great.
Yeah, because you're definitely not helping them get bigger.
That'll work. It goes in line with the phrase, one-handed shit the other.
Do you guys have any upcoming shows?
We do. We actually are headlining a show in Worcester, December 15th, I believe is the date. It's our buddy Chris's birthday. He's old like me, so we're going to celebrate how old we are. We're headlining that one. We have a February show. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to announce this yet. But we have a February show with our friends in a band called Xenosis, and if you've never heard of them, XENE OSIS, Xenosis. Did I spell it wrong? They're a phenomenal band out of Connecticut, and we did a show with them in Vermont not too long ago. The guitar player messaged me like a day later and said, "Hey, we gotta get you down to New Haven." And I said, "Sure." So we have that going on in February with Xenosis, and that's going to be a killer fucking show in New Haven, Connecticut, on December 15th in Worcester. And then I think we're going to go on tour in May, perhaps, if the offer is right. So, and that's when we're hoping to come to your area, brother. I'm hoping we can come down to Tennessee and Florida and Georgia and that area.
Shit, you come down here, I will be there. I will fucking be there.
If you do not show up, I'm going to fucking murder you.
I hope you do, if I don't.
I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that because you go to prison. I would be upset.
Well, I can guarantee you, unless something major happened, I will make absolutely sure I'm fucking there.
Locust fucking revelations, biblical shit would have to stop you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll call you. I will put you on the fucking guest list. And we're playing Oxnard, Tennessee. That's right. That's a real town. I bet you didn't even know that, did you?
Wait, what would...
We're going to play Buxnord, Tennessee, or Hanging Limb, Tennessee. Those are real towns in Tennessee.
Oh my god, are you fucking serious?
You didn't even know that, did you?
No.
Your home state has two towns that I think are hilarious, and the first one is Buxnord, and the other is Hanging Limb. And yes, I mean Hanging Limb, for all you people easily offended, yes, they meant hanging limb.
Oh god.
They didn't mean a limb that was hanging out. They meant, like, fucking lynch mob hanging limb.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, dude, geographical history is a fascinating thing.
I mean, if you think that's interesting, you should look up some towns in Arkansas. They're very obsessed with their town population. So it's like welcome to Goober, Tennessee, population Goober? 42, or no, Tennessee, Arkansas.
Yes. Oh yes, Arkansas, fantastic. Oh, there's also a Crossville, Tennessee.
Wow. See, like Arkansas, I know there's Goober and there's Wiener.
Googling shit right now.
You can go to Wiener, Arkansas if you want.
Wiener, Arkansas. Well, first of all, who wants to go to Arkansas? Fuck y'all.
Yeah, I've been there. Newport's the fucking worst. That area.
It makes us want to go there. This band has been to North Carolina, South Carolina. You know, we've been past the Mason-Dixon line, and it's a perfectly pleasant place. Wonderful people, awesome fans, but Arkansas is really off that list. I'm good.
Oh yeah.
Set. Yeah.
Arkansas.
It's like, Jim, you guys want to tour Iran? Nope.
I know. You go into a certain place in Arkansas, and you kind of like get to the point where the big ass billboards are racist.
Right. Like, oh look, Arkansas. They still have all white schools. Interesting. anyways, I think we should go, because I can't change this shit.
Yeah, it's also the fucking home of Walmart.
Yeah, which is a whole other argument about evil entities, corporate infrastructure, and, is it good or bad? You could really go into that if you wanted to.
Yeah, you want to talk about...
We definitely were more. It's really just about the opportunity. Like I've said earlier, everything in this business is about opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
And we are always welcome to any opportunity that comes our way that's good and positive for this band. And we love touring, man. Like, it's really fun. And it's cool to go to places like your home and meet fans and interact with them and get to fucking rip them a new asshole with this band. We definitely do live. That's why we made a live album, because we're really fucking good at it. And, like I said, man, I've had fans come up to us and go, well, you're actually good, because they're so disenfranchised and diluted with the crap. And it's fun for us to go out there and actually, like, be good for them and put on a good performance.
Yeah.
And, we've done shows, dude, where we played, was it Virginia? I think we did Virginia. We played in front of, like, 6 people. And we did a show not too long ago, our BM Fest, where we played for over 300 people.
Wow.
And we put on the same intensity for each crowd, because we love what we do and we care about what we're doing. And it's fucking so cool to be able to play this type of music and have fans, man.
That's fucking awesome. If, when you guys are coming to, whenever you guys decide to come to Tennessee, we do have some really, really kick-ass venues in Nashville, like small venues that bands like Cannibal Corpse and shit like that have shown up to. Very nice, intimate, like, I started going to less arena shows and more intimate shows lately, and seeing the venues they have there, and they're really cool.
I've heard that, man. I've heard that. Cannibal's obviously a lot bigger than us, but, it really just depends on the tour and what we can get going for ourselves and how much generation of, hype we can get going, because it's all about putting butts in seats, as the phrase goes.
Yeah.
Get people to show up. And obviously, you're a working class person on a Wednesday fucking night at 8 o'clock isn't really going to want to go to a show unless it's something special.
Yeah.
So, of course, we're on the lookout for something special where, we can be a part of it. And, I've been in talks with bands that I'm friends with, like Septic Flesh, like Crip Rhapsody, like, where we wanted to get a chance to go do a show with them, because we knew that they would draw and we could get a chance to play for a new audience. And it's always a huge opportunity for us. We just did a show not long ago with Wolfheart, Worst Principal's Nest, and Caragongren.
Nice.
And it was awesome, man. It was cool to just get to play for those bands and show them what we could do. And they don't know us, and it's fine, because we are proud to, we are glad to introduce ourselves to them and show everybody what we can do.
That's kick-ass.
That's what's going to get us to Tennessee. That's what's going to get us to California and Nevada, New Mexico, and these different places is going to be the opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
What are the best ways for people to support your band?
Tell your friends. Listen to our stuff. Tell your friends. Post it on social media. Those heart sales, the ones where I open up my email and see that I'm going to ship another copy to Missouri, or I'm shipping one to Minnesota or Illinois or, Sweden or Denmark. Those are the real sales. Where I go, okay, this person really is into us. Because anyone at any time can go on the internet and get our stuff for free. And, I can't blame people for doing that. This is the world we live in.
Yeah.
And if you want to go listen to our album for free, you can do that. But buying merch, buying CDs, and showing up to our gigs, and really telling your friends and putting it out there, that's going to be what helps us more than anything. Because in this business, it's not who you know, it's who's willing to admit they know you.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I'm all out of questions for you, man. But before I, let you go, would you be able to make a tag for my show?
Totally, dude. Yeah.
Just, just say your name, and then, say, you're from Solium Fatalis, and you're listening to DJ Doomslayer on Metal Devastation Radio, and you can add whatever the fuck you want to it. Do your own spin on it.
Alright, you ready?
Yeah.
Hey, this is Jim from Solium Fatalis, and you're listening to DJ Doomslayer on Metal Devastation Radio, and if you listen to anyone else, I'll cut your fucking balls off!
Oh my god, that's gotta be the best fucking tag yet. Shit.
Oh wait, but that's like sex-oriented. Maybe I should do one for all genders, though.
Okay, go ahead.
Alright. Hey, this is Jim from Solium Fatalis, and you're listening to DJ Doomslayer, Metal Devastation Radio, and if you don't listen to it, I'm gonna cut you from stem to sternum and slit your fucking throat!
That's great. I now got 2 fucking tags. I can use whatever one I feel like. That is... It's like the best fucking Thanksgiving gift I could have. That's fucking amazing.